9:37 in the morning, Ava collapsed beside me. Her chair scraped violently across the floor. Then her body hit the ground. The sound was so loud that almost every pen in the exam room stopped moving. Someone gasped. A girl behind us whispered, "Oh my God!" The proctor rushed forward. "Ava!" Ava lay on her side beside desk 26, eyes closed, one hand pressed weakly against her chest. Then, exactly as she had in my previous life, she whispered my name. "Emma!" My pen stopped for half a second. That was all. Ava's eyelids trembled. "Emma!" The room had gone so quiet I could hear the air conditioner humming above us. 30 students were staring. The proctor looked at me. "You're her friend." I lowered my eyes back to question 17. "Yes." Ava's fingers moved across the floor. "Please," the girl behind me whispered urgently. "Emma, go help her." I filled in the answer. "B." The proctor stared at me. "Emma." I turned the page. "You should call the medical staff." My voice was calm. "She needs someone qualified." Ava's fingers stopped moving. Only for a second. But I saw it. Then she whimpered again. "No, Emma. Don't leave me." The words were exactly the same. Same time. Same classroom. Same trembling voice. Same 30 pairs of eyes. In my first life, I had dropped my pen. Before she even finished saying my name, I had pushed my chair back so quickly it almost overturned. "Ava!" I knelt beside her. She clung to my wrist. "I can't breathe." The proctor called the school nurse. I was told I could remain in the exam room. Ava begged me not to. "Emma, please. I'm scared. You know I panic around strangers. You promised you'd never leave me alone." So I followed her. I walked out of the most important exam of my life with 48 minutes still on the clock. I sat outside the nurse's room. While she supposedly struggled to breathe, I held her hand. I called her mother. I brought water. I kept asking if she was okay. By the time she told me she felt better, the examination period was nearly over. I begged to go back inside. I was allowed to return, but I had lost too much time. 24 questions unanswered, one entire essay unfinished. I missed the scholarship cutoff by 9 points. 9. Ava cried. When the results came out, she hugged me and said, "I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. I wish I could go back." I believed her. I comforted her. I even told her it wasn't her fault. 3 months later, I discovered the truth by accident. Ava had never been sick. Not that morning. Not even a little. She had planned the collapse. The exact time. The exact words. The exact reason. And the person who asked her to do it was Serena Vale. Serena, the class belle, student council president, teacher favorite, my academic rival since sophomore year. She had ranked second behind me for 3 years. The scholarship went to the highest scorer from our school. Serena knew she couldn't beat me reliably. So instead, she removed me from the room. Ava got a paid internship through Serena's father's company, a new laptop, and, according to the messages I later found, one promise: just get Emma out for 20 minutes. Ava kept me out for 48. When I confronted her, she cried, then blamed Serena. Serena blamed Ava. Then both of them blamed me for taking it too seriously. The screenshots disappeared from Ava's phone. The school called the evidence incomplete. And, when I tried to expose everything publicly, Serena's family threatened my parents with legal action. I fought for months. My grades meant nothing anymore. My university plans collapsed. My parents borrowed money. My mother stopped sleeping. My father stopped talking at dinner. And one rainy night, after another argument outside Serena's family-owned hotel, I stepped into the road without seeing the truck coming. I remembered headlights, a horn, then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, I was 17, 2 weeks before the exam, and now Ava was lying on the floor beside me again. Same performance, same whisper. "Emma," only this time. I knew exactly how the scene ended. The proctor pressed the emergency call button. Medical assistance to room 302. Ava's breathing became louder. She reached toward me. "Please," I kept writing. Question 18. D. Question 19. A. Behind me. Someone muttered, "That's cold." I almost smiled. Cold. Maybe. But the last time I was warm. I burned my own future to keep Ava comfortable. I had already paid for that lesson once. A medical staff member entered with another teacher. They knelt beside Ava. Ava, can you hear me? She nodded weakly. Any chest pain? Ava made a tiny sound. I don't know. Can you sit up? Her eyes opened slightly. Then she looked at me again. That was what gave her away to me. Not the collapse. Not the voice. The look. She wasn't scared. She was checking. Checking whether I was standing. Checking whether I was coming. Checking whether the plan had worked. Our eyes met. I lifted my pen, then returned to my paper. For the first time, real panic appeared on her face. The nurse helped her sit up. We're taking you to the medical room. Ava suddenly grabbed the edge of the desk. No, the nurse frowned. No. Ava looked at me. I want Emma to come. The proctor immediately answered. She's sitting an exam, but she's my best friend. The nurse said gently, we can take care of you. Ava's voice became shakier. Emma knows my history. I almost laughed. She didn't have a history. That had been another lie. In my previous life, Ava told the nurse she had occasional fainting episodes. I believe that too. Now the nurse asked, is there a diagnosed condition we need to know about? Ava froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. My mother knows. Good. We'll contact her. No, her answer came too quickly. The nurse looked at her. Ava corrected herself. As she's working. That's okay. We'll call her. They helped Ava to her feet. For someone who had supposedly been unable to breathe 30 seconds earlier, she stood surprisingly well. The girl behind me noticed. So did the boy across the aisle. Ava swayed dramatically, then whispered again. Emma. I did not look up. The medical staff took her out. The door closed. The room remained quiet for another 5 seconds. Then the proctor said, continue your papers. Pens began moving again. Mine had never stopped. At 10:25, the exam ended. I placed my pen down. My hands were steady. For the first time in either life, I had completed every question. The proctor collected our papers. Students stood slowly. Nobody came toward me at first. Then the girl, who sat behind me, Lily Carter, approached. She looked uncomfortable. Is Ava okay? I assume so. You assume? Yes. She frowned. You didn't even go with her. No, but she was calling you. I heard her. Lily stared as if waiting for an explanation. I gave her none. A boy named Noah walked past us. He glanced at me, then said, the medical staff were here. Lily looked at him. So what was Emma supposed to do? Lily opened her mouth. Noah shrugged. She's not a doctor. Then he left. I almost laughed. Such a simple observation. In my first life, no one had said it. Or maybe they had. Maybe I had been too busy drowning in guilt to hear them. My phone was waiting outside in the storage area. The moment I powered it on, messages flooded the screen. Class group, private messages, missed calls, Ava, 7 messages. The first was sent at 9:52. Emma. Then, why didn't you come? Then I was terrified. Then, I can't believe you. And finally, Serena stayed with me. Of course she did. I opened the class group. Serena had already started. Serena, Ava's okay now. Thank God. She had a severe episode during the exam. She was crying because Emma wouldn't even look at her. Then Lily. It was honestly kind of scary. Someone else. Emma really stayed in her seat. Another. They're best friends. Serena, let's not attack anyone. That sentence made me smile. Classic Serena. She always said, let's not attack anyone immediately, before making sure everyone knew exactly whom to attack. Then she continued, I'm sure Emma had her reasons. The group exploded. What reason? An exam is more important than your best friend? That's crazy. Ava could have been seriously sick. Then Chloe, another classmate, not close to either of us, wrote. Medical staff handled it. 3 dots appeared. Serena replied, that's not really the point. I locked the phone. My mother was waiting outside the school gate. She saw my face. How was it? Good. Really? Really? She smiled with relief. Then, your friend's mother called me. I stopped. What? Ava's mother. What did she say? She asked if you knew why Ava had fainted. Interesting. What did you tell her? That I had no idea. My mother looked at me carefully. Do you? I thought about the past life. The laptop. The internship. The screenshots. The 48 stolen minutes. Then I smiled. No, not in this life. Not yet. My mother frowned. You seem strange. I'm okay. Are you sure? Yes. I took her arm. Let's go home. Behind us, Serena came out of the school building. Ava walked beside her. Walked. Not carried. Not supported. Not even pale anymore. Ava saw me. She stopped. Serena followed her gaze. For a moment, the three of us looked at one another across the gate. Ava's expression was hurt. Serena's was cold. Mine was calm. Then Serena put an arm around Ava's shoulders. A perfect protective gesture. She leaned close and whispered something. Ava nodded, and I knew immediately. The exam plan had failed. So now, they were moving to the second plan. Make me the villain. Fine. Let them. In my first life, I had chased the truth. This time, I would let the truth catch them. 2 weeks before the exam, I woke up screaming. The first thing I saw was sunlight. The second was my old bedroom ceiling. The third was the date, May 26th. For several minutes, I thought I was in a hospital. Then my mother opened the door. Emma! Alive. She was alive. I hugged her so hard she laughed. What happened? Nightmare. That must have been one hell of a nightmare. It had lasted 3 years. At breakfast, I barely spoke. My father complained about traffic. My mother told him to stop checking emails. While eating, the normality hurt. Then my phone buzzed. Ava. Bestie. You up? I stared at the name. In my first life, seeing it made me smile automatically. We had been friends since 13. Ava knew my coffee order, my favorite movies, the name of my first crush, which university I wanted, which scholarship mattered most. She knew how badly I wanted to study biomedical engineering. She knew how much my parents had sacrificed, and she still took Serena's deal. I opened the message. Ava, study date today. Serena says we can use her dad's conference room. There it was. Serena. I typed. No, Ava replied instantly. Why? Busy. With what? Studying. She sent a laughing emoji. That's literally what we're doing. I didn't respond. The next 2 weeks taught me something important. Knowing the future didn't mean I had to become a mastermind. I didn't need secret cameras. I didn't need lawyers. I didn't need to expose Serena before she did anything. I only needed to stop walking into the same trap. Ava became increasingly confused. She invited me to lunch. I declined. She asked to borrow my notes. I sent her the official class materials instead. She wanted to sleep over the night, before the exam. I said no. That made her angry. Emma, what is wrong with you? Nothing. You've been weird for 2 weeks. I'm studying. You're always studying. Exactly. She stared, then softened. Are you scared? A little. She took my hand. The gesture almost broke me. Because once, I would have trusted it more than anything. I'm here, she said. I looked down at our hands. In my first life, those same fingers had clutched my wrist on the exam floor. Don't leave me. I withdrew my hand gently. I know. The day before the exam, I received a message from Serena. Unexpected. Serena! Hey! Everything okay with you? And Ava! I stared at it. There was no reason for Serena to care. Not unless Ava had told her something. I replied, why? She says you've been distant. Maybe I'm focused on the exam. Serena sent. Don't stress too much. One exam doesn't define your whole life. I almost laughed. That was rich coming from the girl who had paid my best friend to drag me out of one. I wrote, good advice. Then I stopped responding. That night, my mother came into my room at 11. Sleep. I'm not tired. Sleep anyway. I have one more section. Emma. I looked at her. Her face was exactly the same as I remembered from before everything went wrong. I closed the book. Okay. She smiled. Good. Then she reached the door. Mom. Yeah. I love you. She turned. Her expression softened. I love you too. Now sleep. I did. The next morning, Ava arrived at the exam center wearing the silver bracelet I had given her for her 16th birthday. That almost made me laugh. She hugged me. "You're here. Obviously. You're acting normal today." "What does that mean? You haven't glared at me once." "I wasn't glaring. You totally were." Serena joined us. Perfect hair. Perfect uniform. Perfect smile. "Good luck." She looked at me. "Especially you, Emma." I met her eyes. "You too." Something about my calmness bothered her. I could tell. Serena liked nervous rivals. She liked people she could read. Ava pulled me aside. "Promise we'll celebrate. After." "Sure. No matter what happens." The wording made my chest tighten. "No matter what happens." I smiled. "Finish your exam." She blinked. Then laughed. "Obviously." At 9:02, the papers were distributed. At 9:30, I reached the reading section. At 9:35, I glanced at the clock. 2 minutes. My body remembered. Before my mind did. My palms turned cold. My heart accelerated. At 9:36, Ava shifted beside me. She adjusted her chair, looked toward the clock, then looked at me. 1 minute. I lowered my eyes. At 9:37, she fell. And this time, I stayed seated. That single choice changed everything. Because the plan had depended on one assumption, that Ava still controlled me. She didn't. After the exam, Ava refused to speak to me in person. Instead, she posted, not publicly. At first, she sent a long message to our class group. "I don't want drama." Whenever someone started with that sentence, drama was already guaranteed. Ava continued, "What happened today was really scary. I genuinely thought I was going to pass out." I called Emma, because she knows I have anxiety episodes. My eyebrow rose. Anxiety episodes. New version. In my first life, it had been fainting episodes. Interesting. Then, I'm not saying she had to leave the exam, but hearing your best friend ignore you when you're terrified hurts. Serena replied immediately, "Please rest. You don't need to explain yourself." Then, everyone processes stress differently. Again, perfect Serena language. Never directly attack. Just leave a knife on the table and let everyone else pick it up. Comments followed. "That's awful. I'd never do that to my best friend. Exam or not. At least look at her." Then Noah. The nurse was there within like 40 seconds. Nobody replied for a minute. Then Serena. "It's not about medical care. It's emotional." I almost admired the efficiency. I finally wrote one message. If Ava believed she was having a medical emergency, calling trained staff was the safest option. Then I put my phone down. I did not defend myself further. That infuriated Serena. I knew, because 10 minutes later she messaged privately, "You could at least apologize." For what? For making Ava feel abandoned. I didn't abandon her. You didn't even stand up. I was taking an exam. She was on the floor. And medical staff came. Serena replied, "You've changed." I stared at that sentence. Then typed, "Yes." No explanation. No apology. Just yes. She stopped replying. At dinner, my father asked, "So your friend fainted?" "Apparently." My mother looked at me. "Apparently. She was fine. When she left." "Do you think she faked it?" The question was so direct I nearly choked. My father looked up. "Why would someone fake that?" My mother shrugged. "I don't know. Teenagers do strange things." I laughed. "Mom." "What?" "You're not wrong." Then she became serious. "If you think something's off, stay out of it." That was exactly what I planned to do. The next morning, rumors became louder. Ava came to school with Serena. She looked pale. Deliberately pale. No makeup. Loose ponytail. She had even brought a small blanket around her shoulders. Students crowded around her. "How are you? What did the doctor say?" Ava glanced at me. Before answering, "Stress." "Interesting." "What kind?" She hesitated. "Acute stress reaction." Noah, who had apparently decided skepticism was his new hobby, asked, "You went to a doctor?" Ava looked at him. "My mom spoke to someone." "That's not what I asked." Serena stepped in. "Can we not interrogate her?" Noah shrugged. "I asked one question." Ava's eyes filled. "I can't believe people think I'm lying." Nobody had said she was. That was another Serena trick Ava had learned. Defend yourself against an accusation. Before anyone makes it, sometimes people assume there must be a reason. I walked past them. Ava called my name. Emma! I stopped. She looked at me. You're really not going to say anything? About what? Yesterday. What about yesterday? Her voice cracked. You didn't care. The hallway went quiet. Students slowed down. Perfect. A public scene. Exactly what Serena wanted. I looked at Ava. If you were sick, I'm glad the nurse helped you. That's it. Yes. I called for you. I heard. And you ignored me. No, I chose not to leave my exam. She stared. What's the difference? A big one. Ava's face flushed. So the exam mattered more than me. I thought about my first life. My unfinished essay. 9 points. 3 years of regret. Then I answered. Your medical emergency was handled by adults. My exam could only be handled by me. Several students looked uncomfortable. Ava's eyes filled. Serena stepped closer. That's incredibly selfish. I looked at her. Then why didn't you leave your exam? Silence. Serena froze. It was the first time anyone had asked. Ava blinked. Serena recovered quickly. I didn't know what happened until later. No. Your room was across the hallway. How would I know? I shrugged. Exactly. Then I walked away. Behind me. No one followed. That was the first crack between Ava and Serena. Small. Almost invisible. But it was there. Because Ava had just realized something. If leaving the exam was proof of love, Serena hadn't left either. Only I had been expected to. For the next 3 days, Serena tried to make the story bigger. That was her mistake. If she had left it alone, Ava's collapse might have remained school gossip. Instead, Serena turned it into a moral campaign. She posted, "Competition should never make us lose basic humanity. No names." Of course, she didn't need names. Everyone knew. Then she reposted a quote about ambition and compassion. Ava liked it. 3 minutes later, 15 classmates did too. I said nothing. The less I reacted, the more frustrated they became. Ava finally cornered me in the library. You're really doing this? I closed my book. Doing what? Pretending nothing happened. You're standing. What does that mean? You recovered. Her face changed. You think I faked it? I hadn't said that. I smiled slightly. Did you? No. Too fast. A boy studying 2 tables away looked up. Ava lowered her voice. I had a panic episode. Okay. Why don't you believe me? I didn't say I don't. You're acting like it. How should I act? I don't know. She looked genuinely angry now. Maybe like my best friend. There it was again. Best friend as obligation. Not relationship. Obligation. I leaned back. What do you want from me? Ava. Her mouth opened, then closed. She had never expected me to ask. An apology. For staying in the exam. For not caring. I did care. Then why didn't you come? Because the nurse did. That's not the same. You're right. I opened my book again. She was more useful. Ava slammed her palm on the table. A librarian looked over. She lowered her voice. You know what? Forget it. She turned away. Then I said, Ava. She stopped. One question. What? Why exactly 9:37? Her shoulders stiffened. For the first time, she didn't turn around. What? You collapsed at 9:37. So, nothing. I smiled. Just specific. She turned. Her face was pale. You're insane. Maybe. But she left quickly. That afternoon, Noah sat beside me at lunch. We weren't friends. Not really. He was quiet. Top 10 in the class. Too observant for Serena's comfort. He opened a carton of milk. Why did you ask about 9:37? I looked at him. You heard. Ava doesn't whisper well. I shrugged. Just curious. He stared. You think it was planned? I didn't say that. You don't have to. I almost laughed. That was Serena's line. Noah continued. I was outside room 302. Before the exam. So, Ava asked Serena what time it was. My fork stopped. What exactly did she say? She said, remind me at 9:35. My pulse accelerated. Are you sure? Yes. Why didn't you think that was strange? I didn't know she was going to collapse 2 minutes later. Fair. What did Serena say? Something like, "Don't worry. I'll remember." I looked at him. "Why are you telling me?" He shrugged. "Because now it sounds weird. That was all. No grand evidence. No secret recording. Just one detail. One crack." I nodded. "Thanks." Noah looked at me. "You're not going to do anything?" "No," he frowned. "Why?" "Because I'm eating lunch." He laughed. Maybe he thought I was joking. I wasn't. In my first life, this was the point where I would have begun investigating. I would have hunted for proof, confronted people, asked teachers, saved messages, made myself the center of the fight. Not this time. If Ava and Serena had done something, they had already made the first mistake. People had noticed. I didn't need to drag the truth out of the ground. I only needed to stop burying it for them. 2 days later, the second crack appeared. Ava's mother came to school. Not because of the collapse, because of a bill. The school medical office had recommended an outside evaluation. After Ava reported a possible fainting episode, Ava refused. Her mother wanted to know why. According to Lily, who heard the argument outside the office, Mrs. Parker said, "If you collapsed badly enough to need Emma beside you, why are you refusing to see a doctor?" Ava replied, "I feel fine now." Her mother, "Then what happened?" Ava, "Stress." Mrs. Parker, "You have never fainted from stress." Ava, "Maybe it started now." Her mother, "And why did you tell the nurse you had a history?" Silence. That rumor spread fast. By lunch, half the class knew. Serena tried to stop it. Medical history is private. Again. Correct sentence. Wrong context. Noah replied. Then Ava probably shouldn't have told the whole class Emma abandoned her during a medical emergency. Serena glared. Noah kept eating. I started liking him. Then Ava did something even worse. She changed her story. At first, she had a panic episode. Then, she had low blood sugar. Then, she had barely eaten breakfast. That one collapsed almost instantly. Because Lily had eaten breakfast with her. "You had 2 pancakes." Ava stared. "And eggs." Lily continued. "And half my muffin." The table went silent. Ava snapped. "I can still have low blood sugar." Lily shrugged. "I didn't say you couldn't." But the damage was done. The more Ava explained, the less believable she became. Serena finally pulled her away. I watched them argue behind the gym. After lunch, I couldn't hear every word, but I saw enough. Serena's arms crossed, Ava gesturing angrily, Serena leaning close, Ava shaking her head. Then Serena said something that made Ava go still. Ava looked toward the school building. Toward me. For the first time, resentment replaced guilt in her eyes. That evening, Serena messaged me again. "We need to talk." "No, this is getting out of hand." "Then stop talking about it. You know exactly what you're doing." "What am I doing?" "You're making Ava look like a liar." I stared at the screen, then replied, "I haven't said anything about Ava." "Serena, you're letting everyone think things." I smiled. There it was. In Serena's world, silence was an attack if it didn't protect her. I typed, "I'm not responsible for what people think." After hearing Ava's own explanations, no response. Then, "You've become really cruel." I answered, "Maybe." She stopped. I had learned something in my second life. People who rely on guilt don't know what to do. When you stop defending yourself against it, the scholarship ranking depended on 3 exams. The collapse happened during the first. The second exam was 4 days later. In my previous life, I walked into it exhausted. I had spent days comforting Ava, answering classmates, defending why I left, trying not to blame her. I barely slept. Serena ranked above me. This time, I slept 9 hours, ate breakfast, turned off my phone, and walked into the room calm. Ava did not sit beside me. She had requested a seat change. Apparently being near me was emotionally difficult. Fine. Serena sat 2 rows ahead. At 8:58, she looked back. Our eyes met. She smiled. I smiled too. That bothered her. The exam began. No one collapsed. No one cried. No one called my name. At noon, I walked out feeling almost euphoric. My mother waited with iced coffee. You look happy. I am. How'd it go? Really well. She handed me the drink, then frowned. Your school called. My stomach tightened. Why? They want to talk tomorrow. About Ava? Yes. Of course. The next afternoon, I sat in the counselor's office with my mother. Ava sat opposite us with her mother. Serena was there too. So was Serena's mother. That surprised me. The counselor, Mrs. Hayes, looked tired. This meeting is not disciplinary. That meant someone had complained. Mrs. Parker spoke first. I want to understand what happened. I looked at Ava's mother. She looked more embarrassed than angry. My daughter says Emma knew she sometimes has panic-related fainting. I answered, No. Ava looked at me sharply. Mrs. Parker turned toward her daughter. You said she knew. Ava's lips parted. I thought I told her. You didn't. Mrs. Hayes asked me. Did Ava ever tell you she had a diagnosed condition? No. Any fainting history? No. Panic attacks? She told me she was nervous sometimes. Mrs. Parker closed her eyes. Ava whispered, Mom. Her mother looked at her. You have never been diagnosed with panic attacks. Serena's mother stepped in. Teenagers can experience new symptoms under stress. Mrs. Parker looked at her. Then, they should be evaluated. Ava immediately said, I don't need that. Silence. Mrs. Hayes leaned forward. Ava, if you experienced a true loss of consciousness or serious breathing difficulty, you should be medically evaluated. I'm fine. That is good. But your description was serious. Ava looked trapped. Then Serena spoke. Can we focus on the emotional part? I almost laughed. Mrs. Hayes looked at her. What emotional part? Emma's response. Serena glanced at me. Ava was terrified. Emma didn't even look at her. My mother's expression changed. She had been quiet until then. Now she said, Was medical staff called? Yes. Mrs. Hayes said, How quickly? Within about 1 minute. Did Emma prevent them from helping? No. Did she refuse a teacher's instruction? No. Was she required to leave? No, my mother nodded. Then what exactly are we discussing? I loved her. Serena's mother stiffened. We're discussing empathy. My mother looked at her. During an examination? We're discussing friendship. Mrs. Parker suddenly said, No. Everyone looked at her. Ava's mother stared at the table. We're discussing why my daughter told me Emma knew about a medical condition that does not exist. Ava went pale. Mom, Mrs. Parker continued, and why she refuses to see a doctor. After telling everyone this was serious, Serena's face changed. Ava's eyes filled. You don't believe me either? I want the truth. I told you the truth. Which version? That landed. Low blood sugar. Panic. Stress. Fainting history. Ava started crying. Serena reached for her hand. Mrs. Parker pulled a tissue from her purse. Then Mrs. Hayes said quietly, There is one more thing. Nobody moved. She placed a printed sheet on the desk. The examination proctor submitted an incident note. Ava stared. Mrs. Hayes continued, It records that, when medical staff arrived, Ava initially requested that Emma leave the exam and accompany her. Serena interrupted. She was scared. Mrs. Hayes held up a hand. It also notes that, when staff said they could contact her mother and arrange further care, Ava objected. Ava's crying stopped. My mother looked at her. Mrs. Parker's face hardened. Mrs. Hayes continued. The nurse noted that Ava's symptoms improved rapidly. After leaving the room, Ava snapped, That happens. It can. Mrs. Hayes nodded. This does not prove anything. Serena relaxed slightly. Then Mrs. Hayes added, But given the conflicting accounts, the school is asking everyone to stop discussing the matter publicly until we understand it. Ava looked at me. This time, I saw fear. Not because the school had evidence, because Serena's plan depended on social pressure, not formal attention. The more adults asked simple questions, the worse the story sounded. We left without a conclusion. Outside the office, Ava caught up with me. Emma! I kept walking. She grabbed my arm. I stopped. My mother turned. I'm fine, I said. She waited a few feet away. Ava lowered her voice. Why are you doing this? Again. You know what I mean. No, you're letting my mom think I lied. Did you? Her face changed. Why do you keep asking that? Because you keep asking me to stop people from thinking it. She stared. You could. Just say I've had panic attacks. Before. But you haven't. You don't know everything about me. You're right. I gently removed her hand. So tell your mother. Ava's eyes filled. You used to be different. I looked at her. Yes. In my first life. That sentence would have hurt. Now it felt like proof I had learned something. Ava whispered. Serena was right about you. I almost smiled. There it is. What? Nothing. I walked away. Behind me. I heard her crying. I did not turn around. The truth came out. Because Serena panicked. Not. Because I exposed her. Not. Because Ava confessed. Because Serena needed control. A week. After the second exam. Noah found me outside the cafeteria. You need to see something. I'm eating. You always say that. Because people keep interrupting lunch. He sat down anyway, then handed me his phone. A screenshot. A group chat I wasn't in. 3 names. Serena, Ava, and Lily. I looked at him. Where did this come from? Lily. That surprised me. She sent it to you? She sent it to half the class. I looked again. The screenshot was from the night before the first exam. Serena, 9:35. Remember. Ava, I know. Lily, what's at 9:35? Serena, nothing. Ava, private joke. Lily, you two are weird. Then another screenshot. Ava, and Serena alone. Serena, don't do it too early. Ava, what if she doesn't come? Serena, she will. Ava, you sound very sure. Serena, she always does. My fingers went cold. Same assumption. She always does. In my first life. Serena had been right. I handed the phone back. Why does Lily have this? Noah smiled without humor. Because Serena added her to the chat by accident. When she was making another group. That makes no sense. She deleted the messages. But Lily's notifications saved previews. I frowned. Not perfect evidence. But enough to create questions. Noah continued. Lily didn't think anything of it. Before. Then Ava changed her story 3 times. So she checked. I looked toward the cafeteria. Lily sat alone. She saw me looking. Then immediately looked away. Why didn't she send it to me? Noah shrugged. Maybe. Because the class thinks you'll start World War III. Fair. I stood. Where are you going? To class. He blinked. That's it. What do you want me to do? Talk to Lily. If she wants to talk. She can. Noah stared at me. You're incredibly strange. I've heard. By the end of the day, everyone had seen the screenshots. Serena posted. They're out of context. Ava. Exactly. Lucas. What context makes what if she doesn't come normal? Serena. It was about something else. Noah, what? No response. Then Ava. Emma is clearly behind this. I almost laughed. I hadn't even received the screenshots directly. But that was the story. They needed. Emma was plotting. Emma was vindictive. Emma was obsessed. Because the alternative was worse. Emma had done nothing. And they were collapsing anyway. Serena confronted Lily. After class. Bad choice. Very bad choice. Half the hallway heard. You had no right to share private messages. Lily shouted back. You had no right to drag me into whatever this is. It was a joke. Then explain the joke. I don't owe you an explanation. Then stop telling everyone there is one. Students gathered. Serena realized too late. She lowered her voice. Lily didn't. You asked me 3 days. Before the exam if Emma ever leaves the room. When Ava gets anxious, the hallway went silent. I was halfway down the corridor. I stopped. Serena's face went white. Ava, standing beside her, turned sharply. Lily continued. I thought you were asking. Because you cared. You said Ava needed a friend. You asked if Emma would go with her. Serena hissed. Stop. No, Lily's face was red. You keep saying Emma is spreading rumors. She hasn't said anything. You're the one who keeps making this bigger. For the first time, Serena lost control publicly. Because she's trying to ruin me. Lily stared. She hasn't even spoken. That sentence hit harder than anything else. Students looked toward me. I stood 20 feet away, backpack on one shoulder, not saying a word. Serena saw me. Her expression changed from rage to humiliation. I almost felt sorry for her. Then Ava whispered, "Serena." Something in her voice was different. Doubt. Serena turned. Ava looked at her. "You said Lily didn't know anything." "She doesn't. She knows about the time." "So? And she knows you asked whether Emma would leave. Because I was worried about you." Ava stared. Even she didn't believe that anymore. The alliance began cracking. That night, Ava called me. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. "Hello." Silence. Then, "Did you know?" Her voice sounded small. "Know what?" "That Serena asked Lily about you." "I know now." "No, before." I closed my eyes. This was dangerous. The truth from my first life sat behind my teeth. I said, "I suspected you wanted me to leave the room." She stopped breathing. "Then why?" "Because you kept asking." "That's not enough." "It was enough for me." Ava started crying. "Emma." I waited. I didn't want to hurt you. There it was. Not a confession. Not yet. But close. "What did you want?" Silence. "Ava. She inhaled shakily. "I thought you'd come for a few minutes." My hand tightened around the phone. There. In my first life. I chased those words for months. Now. They came to me. I stayed quiet. Ava began speaking faster. "Serena said it wouldn't matter. She said you were so fast you'd still finish. She said 20 minutes. She said." Ava stopped. Then silence. I could hear her realizing what she had admitted. "Ava." She hung up. I stared at the phone. No recording. No screenshot. Nothing. Just the truth. And strangely, that was enough for me. I didn't need to prove it tonight. Because Ava had finally heard herself say it too. The next morning, she did not come to school. Serena did. Alone. She sat in class with her back straight. Perfect posture. Perfect hair. No one sat beside her. At lunch, she approached me. "You talked to Ava?" "Yes." "What did she say?" I looked at her. "You should ask her." Her face tightened. "She's unstable." Interesting. A week ago, Ava was a fragile victim. Now she was unstable. Serena continued. "She's blaming me. Because everyone is attacking her." "Is she?" "You know she is." "Maybe. You're enjoying this." "No, don't lie." I looked at Serena. I enjoyed finishing my exam. Her expression flickered. That was the truth she hated most. Her plan had failed. Before the scandal even began. I continued. "Everything. After that is yours." She stared at me. "You think you won." "No, I think I took a test." Then I walked away. Ava returned 3 days later. Without Serena. That was new. She looked exhausted. No blanket. No dramatic pale makeup. Just tired. She sat 2 rows behind me. And spoke to nobody. After class, she asked, "Can we talk?" I almost said no. Then I looked at her. 5 minutes. We went outside. The courtyard was empty except for 2 students near the gym. Ava held her sleeves over her hands. "I'm sorry." I said nothing. She continued. "I know that doesn't fix anything." "No, I didn't think it would go this far." "What did you think would happen?" She closed her eyes. "You'd leave." "For how long?" 20 minutes. That's what Serena said. Ava nodded. "And you believed her?" I wanted to. There it was. Honesty. Ugly. But useful. "Why?" Ava's face crumpled. "Because I was tired of being your friend." The word surprised me. Not the betrayal. The reason. She wiped her eyes. "Everyone always asked about you. Emma got first. Emma got the recommendation. Emma's applying here. Emma's going to win the scholarship. I was she laughed bitterly. Emma's best friend." I stared. "You never told me." "I know. I would have listened." "I know. Then why Serena?" Ava looked away. "Because Serena understood." Of course she did. People who want the same enemy always understand one another quickly. Ava continued. "She said you didn't even notice how much space you took up. She said if you lost one exam, it wouldn't destroy you. You were still smart. You'd still get into college. She said," Ava swallowed. "She said it would. Just make things fair." Fair. another word people used when they wanted someone else to lose something. And the internship? I asked. Her head snapped up. What? I had made a mistake. That happened in the previous life. Not this one. I recovered. Did she promise you something? Ava went pale. How did you know? I said nothing. That was answer enough. She looked away. Her father has a summer program. I wanted it. Serena said she could recommend me. How badly? Ava laughed without humor. Apparently enough. I looked at her. Did you fake the collapse? She nodded. Finally. No drama. No excuses. Just yes. Were you ever sick? No. Did you have panic attacks? No. Low blood sugar? No, I almost smiled. Anything. Embarrassment. That one seems real. She laughed. Then cried. For a second. We were 13 again. 2 girls sitting on the curb sharing fries. Then I remember the exam floor. Her hand reaching for me. The calculated clock. The whispered name. Why did you keep calling me? She wiped her face. Because you didn't move. I know. I panicked. Why? Because Serena said you definitely would. She said you always came. When I needed you. Ava stared at the ground. And when you didn't, she swallowed. I realized the whole thing depended on you loving me more than you loved yourself. Silence. That was the most truthful thing she ever said. I looked away. Ava whispered, I'm sorry. This time. The apology hurt. Because it was real. Are you going to tell the school? She looked terrified. I answered, You should. Her eyes widened. Me? Yes. You're not going to? No, why? Because it's your lie. She stared. What if I don't? Then you don't. And you'll. Just let it go. I looked at her. I already finished my exam. She didn't understand. Not yet. But I did. My goal had never been to punish Ava. My goal was to stop sacrificing myself. Everything else was consequence. 2 days later, Ava confessed. Not publicly. To her mother first. Then the counselor. Then the school. Serena denied everything. Of course. She claimed Ava acted alone. Then the screenshot surfaced. Then Lily's statement. Then Noah's memory about 9:35. Then Serena's own messages. Not enough for a dramatic criminal scandal. Enough for school discipline. Enough for the scholarship committee to review the situation. Enough for Serena's image to crack permanently. The school did not cancel her entire academic record. Real life was less theatrical than that. But she was removed from student council. Her recommendation for the leadership scholarship was withdrawn. Ava was barred from the school's internal scholarship nomination process. Both were required to submit formal statements. More importantly, everyone knew. Serena had spent years controlling how people saw her. That was the punishment she hated most. No longer controlling the story, the class group changed overnight. People who once defended her stopped replying. Some turned aggressively against her. I didn't join them. Public mobs had never impressed me. They loved you. When everyone loved you. Hated you. When everyone hated you. Then moved on. I knew too well how quickly that could turn. Ava's mother called mine. She apologized. My mother listened quietly. Then said, Thank you for telling us. That was all. After the call, she came into my room. You knew. I looked up. What? You knew your friend wasn't really sick. I suspected. How? I smiled. She looked at me. Before she looked at the nurse. My mother stared. Then sat on the bed. Emma. Yeah. You've been different lately. I know. Did something happen? Everything. I nearly told her. The truck. The hospital. No. Wrong story. The headlights. My death. Her grief. My second chance. Instead, I leaned against her shoulder. I think I just got tired of being responsible for everyone. She put an arm around me. You were never responsible for everyone. I closed my eyes. I know that now. The final exam arrived 3 weeks later. This was the one that would determine the full scholarship ranking. In my first life, by this point I had been exhausted. Ava and I were barely speaking. Serena had already begun presenting herself as the calm, disciplined student who rose above drama. I was angry, distracted, obsessed with proving something. This time, there was nothing left to prove. I slept. I ate breakfast. My father drove. My mother checked my ID twice. At the gate, Noah saw me. No medical emergencies today. I laughed. Hopefully not. Lily joined us. Don't joke. Then Ava arrived. She walked alone. Students noticed. Nobody mocked her. Nobody hugged her either. She looked at me. For a second, I thought she would come over. She didn't. Good. Some distance was necessary. Serena arrived last. Her face was composed, but the old aura was gone. Nobody rushed toward her. Nobody asked where she wanted to sit. Nobody offered coffee. She looked almost ordinary. That was the strangest transformation. Once people stopped believing she was special, she became just another student in a white shirt holding an exam ticket. Our eyes met. She looked away first. At 9 o'clock, the exam began. At 9:37, I looked at the clock. No one fell. I almost smiled. At noon, I put down my pen. Finished. Every section. Every answer. When I walked outside, my parents were waiting. How was it? My father asked. Good. My mother narrowed her eyes. Good. Really good. She hugged me. And that was the moment the story should have ended. But consequences take longer than plans. Results came 1 month later. I woke. Before the portal opened, my mother pretended she wasn't nervous. My father failed to pretend. At 8 o'clock, the page loaded. I stared at the score. For several seconds, I didn't understand. Then my mother screamed. My father leaned over me. What? What is it? I read the total again. Highest in the school. Highest I had ever scored. The scholarship cutoff was 12 points below me. 12. In my first life, I had missed it by 9. This time, I cleared it by 12. 21 points. That number felt enormous. My mother cried. My father walked around the kitchen saying, I knew it. He absolutely had not known it. I laughed until I cried too. The class results spread slowly. Noah did well. Lily got into her first choice program. Serena scored second. Again. But this time, there was no leadership scholarship waiting for her. No special recommendation. Her academic score remained excellent. Her perfect image did not. Ava's score was average. She had spent the final weeks barely sleeping. She decided to attend a local university and rebuild from there. She messaged me that evening. Congratulations. I replied, thanks. Then, you deserve it. I stared at those words. In my first life, they would have meant everything. Now, they felt quiet, simple, enough. I wrote, good luck, Ava. She replied with a heart. I didn't send one back. That relationship was over. Not with hatred, with truth. A month later, the scholarship ceremony took place in the school auditorium. My parents sat in the second row. My mother wore the blue dress she saved for special occasions. My father filmed the entire thing badly. The principal called my name. I walked onto the stage. Applause. Lights. A certificate. A handshake. Nothing dramatic. Still, my hand shook. Because in my first life, Serena stood here. I sat in the audience. Ava beside me. She squeezed my hand and whispered, you'll get something better. I had believed her. This time, I stood under the lights. Not because I defeated Serena. Not because Ava confessed. Because, when someone fell beside me, I stayed in my chair. That sounded cruel if you removed every other fact. Maybe that was the point. Some of the best decisions of my life would always look cruel to people who didn't know what they cost me. Before, after the ceremony, my mother hugged me. You did it. I looked at her. No, she frowned. You definitely did. I laughed, then hugged her tighter. This time, there was no hospital, no legal threats, no debt, no sleepless months. Just my family, my future, and a photograph my father somehow took with half the ceiling in it. Perfect. University was quieter than revenge. I liked that. No one knew Serena. No one knew Ava. Nobody cared about a collapse at 9:37. I was just Emma, the girl who always carried extra pens, the girl who studied in the library too late, the girl who hated group projects, the girl whose mother sent too much food. That ordinary identity healed me more than any apology. Ava. And I spoke occasionally. Birthdays, holidays, nothing more. She never asked to rebuild the friendship. I respected her for that. Serena never contacted me again. For a while, I heard updates. She enrolled in a prestigious university without the scholarship. She deleted several old social media posts. Her father still helped her find opportunities. Some classmates complained that she never really suffered. That made me laugh. They still thought the story was about suffering. It wasn't. I didn't need Serena's life destroyed to prove mine mattered. I didn't need Ava miserable. I didn't need public humiliation. I had already gotten the only thing my first life had lost. Choice. 3 years later, during winter break, I ran into Ava at a bookstore. She looked different. Shorter hair, glasses, no silver bracelet. We both stopped. Emma. Hi. How are you? Good. You. Good. Awkward. Then she laughed. This is weird. A little. We stood beside a shelf of exam prep books. Of course. Ava picked one up. Do you ever think about that day? Yes. She nodded. Me too. I waited. She looked at the cover. I used to think the worst thing I did was faking the collapse. I said nothing. But it wasn't. She looked at me. The worst thing was knowing you'd come. That surprised me. Ava continued. I knew you'd leave your exam. I knew you'd sit with me. I knew you'd choose me. And I used that. Her eyes filled. I think that's why I hated you. Afterward, I frowned. Why? Because, when you didn't come, I realized the only reason the plan ever made sense was because I thought your kindness belonged to me. Silence. Bookshelves. Soft music. Someone turning pages nearby. Then I said, it did for a while. She nodded. I know. I'm sorry. This time. I smiled. I know. No forgiveness speech. No dramatic reconciliation. We talked for 5 more minutes. Then said goodbye. As I walked out of the bookstore, snow had begun falling. My phone buzzed. My mother. Are you coming home for dinner? I smiled. Yes. Your father bought too much food. Of course he did. I put the phone away. For years, I thought my second life began when I woke up in my old bedroom. It didn't. It began at 9:37. When Ava fell. When 30 students stopped writing. When everyone looked at me. When the person I love called my name. The old Emma would have stood up. She would have run over. She would have forgotten the test. Forgotten the clock. Forgotten herself. Then, when the consequences arrived, she would have asked, why did this happen to me? The answer was painful. Because I had confused love with obligation. Because I thought caring meant always going. Always fixing. Always sacrificing. Because somewhere along the way, I learned that being a good person meant making sure nobody ever suffered. Because I chose myself. That belief killed me long before the truck did. So, when I got another chance, I did something that looked heartless. Ava fell. She called my name. I kept writing. Question 17. Question 18. Question 19. The nurse came. The teacher helped. The world continued. And for the first time, I understood. Not every cry for help is yours to answer. Not every emergency needs your sacrifice. Not every person who says if you loved me, you would deserves to decide what love costs. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is stay seated. Let trained people handle what belongs to them. Let liars explain their own lies. Let other people carry the consequences of the choices they made. And keep writing. Because my future had been left unfinished once. Not again. At 9:37 in my second life, Ava collapsed beside me. Everyone thought I was cruel for not moving. They didn't know I had already moved once. I had moved away from my desk, away from my exam, away from my future, and it had taken an entire lifetime to find my way back. So this time, I stayed. I finished the paper. I walked out on my own, and for the first time in either life, choosing myself didn't feel selfish. It felt like survival.